So, good morning to everyone that just joined, and thank you for joining this year's first Masterclass. Today, we have Eddie Elmer, that are our product director for Logpoint, to give us an update on Logpoint's newest release. This session will be recorded, and I will upload it to the community after, so you'll be able to find it in the Masterclass community group. We would like you to ask with any questions down in the Q&A, and we'll go over it after the presentation. Yeah, Eddie, I think you can start the presentation now and show our new product release.
Thank you, Sophia, and welcome everybody. So, agenda for today, we'll talk about the overall theme, what's new in Sim, what's new in Store, depending on your interest, what's new in Director, and I'll also do a deeper dive into some of the Store features that are available. I think the most important thing to know about this version is our release process. Our release process has changed in a pretty significant way. You know that in the past, some of you have sometimes experienced challenges with the upgrade process and with new releases. And end customers no longer see .0 releases. The current release is 730.731 for SIM. It is 201 for Store, because what we did first of all an internal preview for our internal team. Then we did a priority access that includes our SaaS customers, and we deployed to quite a number of SaaS customers the version, and only then we go for general availability, making it available for download. So when you get this should be a lot more stable by now. Another sign is that as we're releasing 731, we've very recently announced it, the next version is already almost available for the early preview. So closely one after the other. Its general availability is still quite a few weeks out in the future. This set of versions, is all about stability and about usability, making it easier to deploy, easy to operate, and stable. In terms of deployment, we have a new license page where we're both uploading all the different licenses, SIM, SOAR, UEBA, and we're counting the usage for all the different components. You no longer have to go to multiple places in the product to find that out. We're continuing to invest in log source templates, making it a lot easier to onboard and get logs from new log sources, and I'll be showing some of that. Enrichment got easier. In terms of operation, we have easier store configuration, easier store backup. And in terms of stability, we have a much better garbage collection, a bunch of different components, core components of infrastructure that were upgraded. And as a result, we also have better memory usage. If there is one thing that everybody can benefit from, is from the better resource usage. So even if you're not looking for any of the features, simply upgrading should give you better performance and better resource usage than whatever version you currently have. So let's look first of all at SIM. That's SIM 731. And I'll be talking about what is available for both 730 and 731, since 730 wasn't made generally available to everybody. So first of all, in terms of licensing, we have a single licensing page that has both reporting and uploading capability. Another useful thing for those of you deploying multiple instances is that there is a 30-day grace. So it's a lot easier to deploy a log point without having to go into the underlying OS for generating a license. Equally important news is the garbage collection. The garbage collection and the Java that we use as the infrastructure for a lot of our underlying um, collection and search into logs has been upgraded. The garbage collection mechanism is a new garbage collection mechanism, and it results in much improved memory utilization and, as a result, performance improvements. Um, Not much to see here in terms of demo, but we've seen improvements up to 20 or 30% in memory usage. For any of you who are looking to do more, or who are occasionally feeling the glass ceiling of your hardware, that's a pretty straightforward upgrade. And we also have additional capabilities. We have new alert configuration. You can see the look and feel of the alert configuration. It looks very similar to the log templates that I'll be showing later. It also looks quite similar to SOAR. That's the new look and feel, and you'll see eventually the entire product with this new look and feel. And more importantly, instead of browsing multiple locations to configure an alert, you can configure all the needed parameters for an alert in the current version. This is quite similar to what we've done for log source templates, where we have a template for a log source, and you can define there all the different components: log source, credentials, normalizations, enrichments, routing, repos, everything. The same thing for alert, where you can configure all the mandatory fields, who gets to see the alert, where it goes, the configuration, the Jinja template if needed. And it's much easier and much faster, both to configure and to understand how it is configured. We've also made it possible to import lists from a file from CSV and TXT. Makes it easier in terms of updating your lists from third-party systems. We also did a pretty big upgrade on SOAR. So for SOAR, what we did, first of all, we made a number of improvements to case management. The two main things is, one, whenever an incident is used to open a case or an incident is added to a case, all the extractable data, all the artifacts in that incident are mapped pretty much automatically into the case. You don't need to go and select them one by one. You don't need to map them. And if you have a rich alert with many artifacts, all of them are mapped directly into the case and are visible there. Not only are they visible there, it also relates directly to the ability to search from the case, because when you have an incident, it's easy for you to simply push a single button and perform the search, the query that resulted in that incident in the SIM, dig in, narrow it down, expand it as needed, and then attach it back into the case. So you can have all the incident related data in the case easily, and you can attach searches from SIM not only to the playbooks that you could do before, but even as an analyst using case management with a single click of a button, making investigation really easy. We've also made it much easier to manage the playbook versions. And it is now possible to go back to previous versions. And in the demo, I'll probably show a little bit more about that, how you can use it, both in terms of named version, unnamed versions, and effectively getting an ability to roll back to any version that you push the save button on, even if you didn't name it. So this will be in the demo. Also, we're making easier for you to test in place and to create libraries. So and both of those will also be things I'll be showing in the demo as part of this masterclass. So you can see both our ability to now test string manipulation within the playbook without having to run the playbook, and being able to select scripts from a library. When you build a nice script, there will usually be more than one playbook where you want to use that script. Until now, before having a library, you could copy and paste, but it was rather cumbersome to use it in multiple playbooks. Now you can have a central location where you keep scripts, and any script with a name can be used in a playbook simply from a drop-down list, making it a lot easier to build sophisticated playbooks and use the library that you've created yourself. Also sold various things that make usage and visibility better. We've added the ability to snap to grid, so the actual blocks would be easily aligned. And the action configuration window is now movable, so it doesn't hide anything behind it, also making it much easier. With a quick show of hands, how many people here are using Director? Okay, so we'll definitely talk about Director as well. So it was almost half the people, and I'm really glad, because Director is a pretty good way to manage multiple instances of Logpoint for multiple tenants. And the log sources, the log source templates that we added are really nice if you have a single instance, but they're getting even nicer when you have multiple instances. So you can now configure log sources, for example, a Cisco, with all the details, decide what the repo name is, and have a consistent repo name for all tenants, not just for a single tenant, and define a single specific normalizer, specific enrichment policy, and use that template, distribute that template to every single tenant. So the log sources are used not just in the SIM, log source templates, but also in Director. Not a huge number of other features in Director, because we've done a major upgrade of all the underlying infrastructure in terms of the underlying applications and OS. And this will, in turn, give us better capabilities in the coming versions. With that, I will try and move to the demo. In a moment, I'll be able to share my screen and you'll see it. And with that, we can now see the playbooks. Let's go into a specific playbook. And let's see the new changes to the actions. For example, we're looking at the string utilities. So if we look at the string utilities, we can choose a specific utility type, right? We could do this before, but let's say I want to convert an input string to lowercase. I can now select an input string that has both lowercase and uppercase, and you can see the test button. When I do the test button, I run the test, and I can immediately get the solution. Now, this is really nice. Obviously, a little too easy when it's just convert input string to lowercase. But if I want to encode as base 64 or decode a base 64 and see what's going on, encode text as a URL, or extract or input to a JSON, or find irregular expressions, all of those can be easily tested. Imagine you can test a regular expression without running the entire playbook over and over again. That would take longer time. So the capability with strings is now a lot nicer. I also promised you I'll show you what the version looks like. So I just saved the playbook after the changes, and I can name this version. This was the Masterclass demo. Okay, so let's look what versions I have. So you can see that I can snap to grid, for example. So when I snap to grid, the jumps are exact jumps of one full rectangle and not anything partial. Therefore, everything can remain easily aligned. So this is the snap to grid. I can decide not to snap to grid, and then I can do, you can see, much smaller changes and even have things that are not necessarily aligned. Another nice thing we can do and would be useful for everybody is the ability, in the case of scripts, to actually load and save from a library. So if we decide to enable selecting from a library, oh, I have the ability to normalize a username. That's a Python code I've written before and used in a different place, and I can easily add it here. So this is also quite useful. Up to now, does anybody have any questions about the new version, about availability, or about SOAR? Okay, so in that case, okay, one answer, one question. There is a question again about memory. What could we do? What could we expect in terms of improvement? So for SIM, we're using the Shenandoah garbage collector, and this garbage collector allows us approximately 20 to 30% more RAM usage than before. So if we have, for example, 32 gigabytes of RAM or 64 gigabytes of RAM, we can expect the system to use for the same amount of queries and incoming EPS, approximately 20 to 30% fewer memory. Okay, and now I have a quiz for you. You've seen the slides, and you can see my screen here that is quite white. Who can guess what is coming up for the very next version in terms of functionality? Something that has been requested by quite a number of our customers. Okay, we have one correct answer. Anybody else guessing? Yeah, so as you could have guessed from my slides and from the very whitish background that I personally prefer for demos, one of the things that is coming in the next version in 7.4 is going to be a dark mode across the product that would hopefully make quite a few of you happy. And having solved that question as well, has anybody got any more questions? Or if not, we'll give you a bit of your time back. Great. There is a question about the minimum version from which you can upgrade to 730. So yes, you upgrade from a 7X and you upgrade 730, 731. Any additional questions before we close? Right. So another question, is there any way to automatically group multiple incidents into a single case? So we happen to have open a playbook whose name is Incident Case Management. I was only going to use it to show the additional actions, but let's remove the additional actions and look for a moment at what it does. It does exactly that. Basically, if we look, is it looks at the incident and extracts from it all the different artifacts that, as we said, are added automatically. And then we can filter for a username, we can filter for a source address, a destination address, a domain, a sender, a receiver. This is for emails. And if any of those fields exist in the incident, any incident for a matter, so if the user is present, we will then search all our existing cases to see if there is any open case that already has this user as an artifact, which means the incident is likely to be related to other incidents in that case that is already open. If one exists, we will look for the one with the highest severity, and we will attach the incident to it. So it will effectively group multiple incidents into a single case. If no case is found, then we create a new case with that specific user. The same thing is true for source address, destination address, and all the other artifacts. So this playbook will be available shortly for download. And if you want to try it out immediately, reach out to us and I'll be very happy to share it with you and work with you on deploying it. And again, a promise that if you have no additional questions, we'll be closing this. And of course, you can still reach out via email if you remember anything later, or when viewing this masterclass later from our recorded version, You can always feel free to reach out and ask questions via email. The whole point is in finding ways in which you can get more value out of the platform you have. So I would like to thank everybody for attending today, and hope to see you on our next master classes organized by Sophia.
Yes, thank you, everyone. I will make sure to upload the recording within today or tomorrow in the community. And yeah, feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Our next masterclass will be the next second Tuesday of the month, as we run it the whole year. So feel free to sign up for the upcoming ones. We already have the full schedule of the year. So thank you and have a nice rest of the day. And thank you, Eddie, for joining. Right.